At 11 years old, he fixed broken bicycles in his alley for free. Nobody paid him. Nobody thanked him. Nobody believed he was building anything. Today, his automotive brand operates in 47 cities across Canada. The tools changed. The hands never did. Meet Ryan Mercer, born in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, a tough, cold city that builds tough, resilient people. Ryan was the oldest of 3 kids. His father, Tommy Mercer, drove a delivery truck 6 days a week. His mother, Diane Mercer, worked part-time at a pharmacy. Money was always tight, always counted, always worried about. Ryan grew up understanding one thing early: nobody was coming to save you. At 11, while other kids played video games, Ryan was in the alley behind his house with a rusty wrench, fixing neighborhood bicycles for free, just because broken things bothered him. What makes a child fix things for free? And what does that instinct eventually build? Ryan's workspace was a 6-foot strip of cracked asphalt behind his house. His toolbox was a plastic bin he found at a garage sale for $2. His parts inventory was whatever he could scavenge: old inner tubes, bent spokes, worn brake pads pulled from bikes people had thrown away. Kids in the neighborhood started leaving broken bicycles outside Ryan's back gate, the way people leave shoes outside a cobbler's shop. He never asked for payment. He just fixed them. His mother, Diane, would bring him hot chocolate in winter and watch him work from the back steps, quietly wondering where this boy came from. The alley became his classroom, but one broken bicycle changed everything about how Ryan saw himself. When Ryan was 12, a boy named Curtis Webb from 2 streets over brought him a bicycle so destroyed it looked like it had been hit by a car. Both wheels warped, chain snapped, fork bent. Everyone said it was garbage. Ryan spent 3 weekends on it, sourcing parts from junked bikes, straightening the fork with improvised tools, rebuilding the wheel from scratch. When Curtis rode that bicycle again, the whole block came outside to watch. A neighbor, Mr. Maker, Al Fontaine, a retired auto mechanic, watched from his porch. Then he walked over to Ryan and said, "Son, you didn't fix that bike, you resurrected it. That's a different skill entirely." Mr. Fontaine's words unlocked something in Ryan, and what happened next in that old man's garage would shape the next 20 years. Al Fontaine had a 2-car garage packed with tools, equipment, and 40 years of automotive knowledge. He had no students, no apprentices, and no one to pass anything to. When he saw Ryan's instinct and patience, he opened that garage door and said, "Come back Saturday. Bring your notebook." Every Saturday for 3 years, Ryan learned engine basics, brake systems, electrical diagnostics, transmission fundamentals. Al didn't teach from textbooks, he taught from broken things. He put a dead engine in front of Ryan and say, "Tell me what's wrong." Ryan would figure it out, every single time. By 15, Ryan could diagnose a car engine faster than most trained mechanics, but his biggest test was about to come from inside his own home. When Ryan was 15, his father Tommy's delivery truck broke down catastrophically. The repair estimate was $2,200. The family didn't have it. Without that truck running, Tommy would lose his job. Ryan spent one night in Al Fontaine's garage studying the specific engine problem. Then he told his dad, "Let me fix it." Tommy looked at his 15-year-old son and hesitated. But there was no other option. Ryan spent 4 days on that truck, working before school and after. On the 5th morning, Tommy turned the key. The engine started clean and strong. Tommy sat in that truck for 10 minutes without getting out. When he finally did, his eyes were red. Fixing his father's truck didn't just save a job, it told Ryan exactly what his hands were truly worth. After the truck repair, word spread through the neighborhood fast. Families who couldn't afford dealership prices started knocking on Ryan's back gate, asking about car repairs now, not just bicycles. At 16, Ryan started charging. His first official car repair job was a brake job on a 2003 Honda Civic owned by a single mother named Karen Ellis. He charged her 60 ass, a fraction of what any shop would charge. She paid him, shook his hand, and told 3 friends. Those 3 friends told 3 more. By the time Ryan was 17, he had a waiting list. His plastic tool bin had been replaced by a real roll-away toolbox Al Fontaine gave him as a birthday present. A waiting list at 17, but Ryan's parents were about to push him toward a decision that nearly cost him everything. Ryan's parents wanted him to go to college. They had sacrificed too much to watch their son work in an alley. His mother, Diane, in particular, pushed hard. Applications, campus tours, financial aid forms. Ryan respected her completely. But every time he sat in a college information session, something inside him went quiet and flat. He tried to explain it to Al Fontaine one Saturday. Al listened, then said, "Ryan, college teaches you how to work for someone else's dream. You're already living your own. Those are two very different educations." Ryan went home and made his decision. He enrolled in a certified automotive technician program, a 2-year trade certification instead of a 4-year university degree. The trade certification route was cheaper, faster, and closer to what Ryan actually needed. But the real lesson came not from the program, but from what he did while in it. While completing his automotive certification, Ryan didn't stop working. He registered his first legal business entity at 18, Mercer Mobile Mechanics, a mobile repair service where he drove to customers instead of customers coming to him. He had no shop. He had a 2001 Ford Ranger he bought for $1,400, a full tool set, and a hand-printed flyer he posted on community boards and church bulletin boards across 3 Winnipeg neighborhoods. Within 6 months, he had more work than he could physically handle alone. He hired his first helper, his younger brother Jake Mercer, 16, and paid him properly from day one. Ryan always said, "The people who show up for you deserve to eat first." Mercer Mobile Mechanics was growing fast, but one business decision Ryan made at 19 separated him permanently from every competitor in his market. At 19, Ryan introduced a policy no other mobile mechanic in Winnipeg offered: a 12-month parts and labor guarantee on every repair he performed. If anything he fixed failed within a year, he came back and fixed it free. Competitors laughed. They said he'd go broke. Ryan calculated his failure rate carefully. It was under 3%. The guarantee cost him almost nothing. But what it did for customer trust was immeasurable. Customers stopped shopping around. They became loyal. They referred family. They referred co-workers. They referred people they'd never even met in person, through Facebook groups, community boards, and word of mouth. The guarantee didn't just build customers, it built believers. With a loyal customer base and a reputation that spread itself, Ryan made his next move, one that would take Mercer from a truck to a building. At 21, Ryan signed the lease on his first physical location, a small 1,800 square foot automotive bay in a commercial strip in North Winnipeg. The rent was $1,900 a month. His savings covered 4 months of rent. That was his runway. He had 4 months to make the shop profitable or lose everything he'd built. He hired 2 certified mechanics, kept Jake on as shop coordinator, and launched a basic website. He moved his entire loyal customer base into the new location through personal phone calls, not mass emails, not social media blasts. Personal calls, one by one. His appointment book was full before the doors officially opened. The shop turned profitable in month 2. Month 2, profitable. But the moment Ryan truly understood he was building something bigger came from the most unexpected customer. 3 months after opening his shop, Ryan received a call from a logistics company called North Star Freight, a regional trucking operation with a fleet of 34 vehicles. Their fleet manager had heard about Mercer from a driver who'd been a personal customer. They needed a reliable, affordable maintenance partner. Ryan spent 2 nights building a custom fleet servicing proposal, something he had never done before. He called Al Fontaine for advice. All said, "Price it right, not cheap." Cheap tells them you don't believe in your own work. Ryan submitted the proposal. North Star signed within a week. That single contract doubled Mercer's monthly revenue overnight. One fleet contract changed Ryan's entire business model and showed him a market most independent mechanics completely ignore. The North Star contract opened Ryan's eyes to the commercial fleet maintenance market, a massive, underserved segment that most small shops never pursue because the sales process feels intimidating. Ryan wasn't intimidated. He was methodical. He built a dedicated fleet services division within Mercer, hired a sales coordinator, and began systematically approaching delivery companies, construction firms, and municipal contractors across Manitoba. Within 18 months, Mercer had 9 active fleet contracts. The revenue was stable, predictable, and scalable in a way that retail walk-in business never could be. Ryan was 23. His company was no longer a shop. It was a services operation with infrastructure. 9 fleet contracts at 23, but Ryan's ambition was already far beyond Manitoba, and one conversation pushed him to finally think nationally. At 24, Ryan attended a small business conference in Toronto, his first time leaving Manitoba for business. He sat in a session about franchise scaling models and walked out with his mind completely rearranged. He called Jake from the hotel room that night. "We're not just building a shop. We're building a brand." He spent the flight home sketching a national expansion model, standardized service packages, franchise-ready operations, centralized training, and a unified brand identity. When he landed in Winnipeg, he went straight to his office, not home. He worked until 3 a.m. On the whiteboard, in large letters, he wrote Mercer Automotive, nationwide. It wasn't a dream anymore, it was a deadline. The whiteboard said nationwide. But turning one successful shop into a scalable brand required something Ryan had never done before: ask for help. Building a franchise model required legal, operational, and branding expertise Ryan didn't have. Through a business network connection, he was introduced to Sandra Cho, a 40-year-old franchise development consultant based in Calgary who had helped scale 3 Canadian service brands nationally. Sandra reviewed Mercer's financials, operations manual, and service model over 2 weeks. Her verdict: "Your fundamentals are stronger than brands I've worked with that had 10 times your resources. You're ready. You just need the right architecture." Sandra became Ryan's strategic partner. Together, they spent 14 months building the full Mercer Automotive franchise framework: training systems, quality standards, brand guidelines, and franchise agreements. 14 months of building the framework, and when the first franchise opportunity was listed, what happened in the first 72 hours, nobody predicted. When Mercer Automotive opened its franchise program at age 26, Ryan expected slow, cautious uptake. Instead, within 72 hours, he had received 31 expressions of interest from across Canada. Mechanics, shop owners, and entrepreneurs who had heard of the Mercer brand, its reputation, its guarantee policy, its fleet model, wanted in. The first 3 franchises were awarded in Calgary, Regina, and Thunder Bay within 90 days. Ryan personally trained every new franchisee for 2 weeks at the Winnipeg flagship. He didn't send a manual, he showed up, because Ryan Mercer had never believed in building things from a distance, not since the alley behind his house. 3 franchises in 90 days, and Ryan did something with his first major franchise revenue that nobody in his industry expected. With his first significant franchise revenue, Ryan launched the Mercer Trade Scholarship, a program that paid full tuition for automotive technician certification for young people from low-income families across Manitoba. The first year, 8 students were funded. Ryan personally called each recipient. He told them the same thing: "This trade gave me everything. It will give you everything too, if you give it everything back." All Fontaine, now 78, still sharp, still in his garage, was named the honorary founding patron of the scholarship. Ryan flew him to the announcement event. When Al saw his name on the banner, he grabbed Ryan's arm and couldn't speak. He didn't need to. Scholarships, franchises, fleet contracts, but the moment that made Ryan stop and feel everything came from his own family. 2 years into the franchise expansion, Ryan bought his parents a house, a proper house, no leaking basement, no rattling furnace, in a quiet neighborhood outside Winnipeg. He didn't make a big announcement. He just handed his mother Diane a key over Sunday dinner and told her the address. Diane held the key in her palm for a long time. Tommy looked at his son from across the table with the same expression he'd had sitting in that repaired delivery truck 15 years earlier. Jake, now a full equity partner in Mercer Automotive, raised his glass. Nobody made a speech. The silence said everything that needed to be said. The house was paid for. The family was secure. But Ryan's biggest professional challenge was still coming, and it arrived in the form of a national competitor. At 28, a major national automotive chain called Drive Right Auto Centers, with deep pockets and 200-plus locations, launched an aggressive campaign targeting the same fleet contract market Mercer had pioneered. They undercut prices, poached 2 Mercer franchisees with buyout offers, and ran a direct advertising campaign in every city where Mercer operated. It was a corporate attack designed to suffocate a smaller brand. Ryan gathered his franchise network on a video call and said one thing: "They're attacking us because we're worth attacking. That means we're winning. Now let's make sure they regret this." Over the next 6 months, Mercer doubled down on service quality, customer loyalty programs, and franchisee support. Drive Right's fleet contracts had lower renewal rates. Mercer's hit 94%. 94% fleet contract renewal against a national competitor. That number told the entire industry who had actually built something real. By 30, Mercer Automotive had grown into a recognized national brand with a distinct identity, honest pricing, guaranteed work, community roots. The brand ran national radio spots featuring real customers, not actors. The marketing wasn't polished or corporate. It felt exactly like Ryan, direct, real, and built on trust earned the hard way. Industry publications began covering Mercer as one of Canada's fastest-growing automotive service franchises. Ryan was invited to speak at trade conferences he had once attended as an unknown attendee. He always opened his talks the same way, with a photo of a cracked alley, a plastic tool bin, and a broken bicycle. The audience always went quiet, because everyone in the room understood what that image meant. From that cracked alley to national conference stages. But the number Ryan shared in his most recent annual report made even his harshest critics go completely silent. Today, Ryan Mercer is 32 years old. Mercer Automotive operates across 47 cities in Canada, with 61 franchise locations and counting. The company services over 200 commercial fleet accounts nationally. Jake Mercer serves as COO. Sandra Cho sits on the board of directors. The Mercer Trade Scholarship has funded 94 students into certified automotive careers. Al Fontaine's Saturday garage sessions are immortalized in a framed display at Mercer's Winnipeg headquarters. Every photo, every lesson, every grease-stained notebook page. And in Ryan's office, on a shelf behind his desk, sits a rusted wrench, the original one, from the alley, mounted on a small wooden block with a single engraved line: "It started here." He fixed bicycles for free in a cold alley in Winnipeg. Today he runs a national automotive empire. The only tool that never changed was his belief that broken things deserve to be made whole again.